When I went to see Gaddafi, he said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Your Excellency, I want a rifle and bullets." You don't want money? I said, "No, once I have the gun and the bullets, I will get the money myself."
Ito ekone ni jam tiyo ngedeling adanga batama ngeda ngekena ngedelinga ya wiyo ngatamana bono kanga malia epota ngedelinga ka.
How about the medicine? Say, don't worry about that.
Batama bo anuko ekito jam tiyo ngolo batama ngedelinga metak ngona imemo ngolo.
How about clothes?
Anubo ngolowi ni jam tiyo ngolo langa.
I said, don't worry about clothes.
Even
a naked man can shoot you. Don't worry.
Even that
The President of Uganda.
Well, Mr. President.
How are you, Excellency?
Just fine. But it's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
And the Foreign Minister,
Hello there.
Princess Elizabeth, the Ambassador.
How do you do?
To meet you again.
You wrote a book.
I gave you a copy.
You did, and I read it too.
That's fantastic.
It's time to be able to say thank you.
Well, that's fantastic, Mr. President. And, Mr. Crockett.
I sure do. President. Yeah. How are you?
Ambassador Hodek or
Yes,
Ambassador?
hello there. Nice to see you. Hello. Well, I know we only have a few minutes here, but it's a pleasure for me to be able to speak to you about, I know your concern and progress you're making with regard to human rights. As a matter of fact, my daughter Maureen related to me a conversation about Shula's children that you had with her.
I'm glad you remember that talk.
Well, she just recently communicated with me when she evidently knew that I was going to see you.
Yes, in Rwanda. Rwanda is one of our neighbors.
Yes.
I'm very sorry about Mrs. Regan, but I'm glad she's recovering.
Oh, it's been a miracle. She's, other than when we had children, it's the first time she's ever been in a hospital as a patient. Been there many times. Her father was quite an eminent surgeon. And she, for a time during the war, was what we call a nurse's aide, helping out. But my goodness, the operation was only Saturday, and where she is, well, Thursday morning, I'm going to go and bring her home.
That's very good.
I got a call from her this morning. She was up and showering. Well, yesterday I was there and took her for a walk through the corridors there to give her some exercise.
That's encouraging. That's very encouraging.
It's been, well, the doctors say she's way ahead of schedule on her recovery.
Yes. Must. Well, it's just recently, only a few days ago. I was in Canada, so I was following the news on the TV. I was in Canada attending the Commonwealth Conference.
Yes. Could I bring up a case of another thing? Even though it may sound as if I'm interfering here, or I shouldn't.
You're most welcome.
I'm aware of Mr. Gaddafi's approaches and efforts to get a foothold in your part of Africa and all. And I just like to intervene and caution. I don't think he has worthy causes either that he's promoting. I think he has a kind of world revolutionary idea, and I know it has cost a number of lives, forced us to take a drastic action in his country to let him know that we were aware. We had indisputable truth that he had been back of a terrorist act that killed a number of people, including a little 11-year-old girl. So we thought that we should show our displeasure. We did.
Mr. President, I started fighting Gaddafi before you started.
What?
I started fighting Gaddafi before you started. In 1979.
Yes.
1978, we were fighting a man called Idi Amin.
Oh, yes.
He was the president of our country.
Yes.
Gaddafi sent in troops to back Idi Amin.
For heaven's sakes.
I was one of the leaders leading the other side. So this was way before you started fighting Gaddafi.
I'm preaching to the choir. Here.
Yes.
Well, it's true. I know what you accomplished.
Gaddafi sent in 4,000 soldiers to fight us. in 1978.
Isn't that funny? I don't know how that escaped me, and I wasn't aware of it at all. Well,
4,000 soldiers, fighters. Back in Idi Amin, if you remember Idi Amin.
yes. Well, then you don't need any. Oh, I do. Yes, I know very much about him. You don't need any warnings from me about it.
No, we don't.
Gaddafi.
We don't. But the only thing about Gaddafi, why we are working with him, is on just one point. The south-to-south trade.
Yes.
He's one of the few people willing to do it. Compared, for instance, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, they have got a lot of oil, which we could buy and give them food, for instance, because they need food. They're a desert country. But sometimes they don't respond very quickly. But Gaddafi does. If you say, I give you maize, and you give me oil, he responds. So Gaddafi is a wide spectrum. Arab chauvinist,
Yes.
expansionist, Islamic fundamentalist,
Yes.
but also South-South cooperation. So we just speak that.
Well, it's a great pleasure to see you.
Okay, excellent.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope that should help us.
Oh, she. Yeah.
Thank you for putting in a moment in your crowded schedule.
Well, I'm pleased to.
General Tafire told us at the funeral of Adonia Tiberondwa, which I attended personally because we were very close. And he said that the so-called liberators, liberation fighters or whatever it is, used to wear UPC t-shirts. And they were the ones responsible for shooting people along Bombo Luero Road. He said it with his own words. So I think one day the people of Uganda want to know who was responsible for atrocities committed in Luero.
Consistently fed the world with propaganda and TV teams access to investigate the appalling human rights record of the National Resistance Army in northern and eastern Uganda. Operation Sim Sim is an unprecedented report by the first Western TV team to investigate the intolerable abuse of Ugandan women and men through rapes by the NRA. For a long time, the NRA government has been killing political opponents by deploying HIV-positive soldiers to rape them. It is the only government which is actively involved in the intentional spread of AIDS at a time when the entire world is struggling to stem the spread of this deadly disease.
When you hear my son's name, Mhozi, when he was born, I said, now I have got somebody to avenge me. That's what his name means. Now that I have got a boy, this is the one who will avenge me in case something wrong is done to me. Mhozi, the clan, was the one revenging on behalf of the offended. And you call me a leader? I am an enemy of the people. I am Exirani.
Sorry?
I will be Exirani. I will be a curse to the people. You cannot touch these corrupt people. If you touch the corrupt people, the government will fall. They can even bring down the government.
How do these corrupt people look like? Are they